Okay, so without further ado, I wanted to break into this because this is getting really annoying. What's that? To a lot of these, what's up with a lot of these reviews for Scary Movie 6? I'm gonna call it for what it is, Scary Movie 6, and I'm irritated for a few things. First of all, I'm irritated because I lost my Scary Movie cup while at work. I set it down somewhere and either somebody threw it away or they kept it. So I'm gonna try to buy a new one. If you buy it on AMC, the AMC store website, apparently it's gonna be more expensive. So, but what I'm really upset is the reviews for this film, because even though the reviews are not like, I'm not expecting the reviews to be absolutely positive. I'm going to go ahead and say that I want reviews to be fail, and there's just a lot of times when these reviews are not fail. So it's just getting to the point where it's the reviews are convoluted, but not really convoluted. They're mostly negative at this point, and I'm just wondering what is with the negativity of these film reviews for something like Scary Movie, because I thought that they would be positive. I thought that they were going to be positive because people were ready for this. I was ready for this. I was excited to see that Scary Movie will return. And now that it has it, it's just, you can see that I've been researching reviews, and if I look over to the screen, my bad, let me fix this right here. That's not right. I wonder why it keeps doing that. I got to shrink myself down here so that you can see more of the screen. So if I look over here, I'm looking because my main projected desktop to be displayed is my desktop capturing is going to be my Hisense screen TV. It says right here. Anyway, it's my, and so that's my main presentation. So if I'm looking over here, I'm looking at that, so that you can obviously see it right here on the screen here as well. You can see my mouse moving and everything. So I want to go into some of these little. Let me refresh this page. I need to close out some of these tabs. I know. Bear with me. I was going to leave reviews. You can see I made a brand new playlist. I have plenty of videos that I want to watch and also critique. I know we're getting into Disclosure Day coming up. I've got a ticket for it tomorrow. People are obsessed with Obsession, but for tonight, I want to get into why Scary Movie 6 is so damn bad. You can see that I've got this playlist going on, and I mean, I want to get something more recent. They added, published, newest. You know what? We'll just go with this one. At least he got creative with it. Oh, that's from the second one, right?
Y'all can't tell me this one of the hardest beats that ever came out.
Yeah, it is.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Notes the God, aka the Guardian Angel, and we back. But anyway, we got a video from my boy, The Truth Is. I love this man. He always put out the good stuff, you know what I'm saying? If y'all haven't seen it, because I have, the Scary Movie 6. Now, 1, hands down classic, love it. 2, kind of my favorite because it's a lot of moments from there that's very classic moments. But Scary Movie 6, I gotta say, I'm kind of disappointed. It's a lot of moments that I feel like they were trying too hard. And even though they brought back my favorite Wayne brothers, you dig what I'm saying? It was just not the same. And then there was a lot of things in there that I felt like they was going a little bit too far. You dig what I'm saying? But without further ado, we ain't gonna waste no more tizu on the klizu. You know what I'm talking about? So, let's get right to it. All right, guys, let's get right into it again. The video by my man Truth is talking about the Scary Movie and why he thinks it was a flop. Here we go.
Scary Movie 6 is hiding a massive problem. While people are stuck debating if the movie was actually funny or just really corny, no one seems to be asking the real important question. How was any of this acceptable? How is this scene supposed to be funny? And how was this approved to be in the movie?
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
If y'all saw this movie, that part, nah, unacceptable.
I know that Scary Movie 6 was supposed to be silly, but it seems like they used that parody label to get away with themes that are just flat out disgusting. Are they just trying to push the limits of comedy, or is there a more calculated reason behind this?
And believe it or not, they've done even nastier. So it's not like it's. They say it's unacceptable, but apparently you didn't watch the first one. The first one they did something similar. So if you're gonna like the first one, why are you gonna hate the second one? So it's not unacceptable. It's very acceptable because they did it in the first one, and even the second one. So, but when they put this on TV, they're not gonna show that those testicles. They're not gonna do that because they can't show that on TV. That's why if you watch Scary Movie 1 and 2 on TV, you won't see certain things. Make sure my door is locked. That's why I'm always checking behind me because I'm in a public place with the people, and because I used to watch Scary Movie 1 and 2 on like Comedy Central or whatever, and then when I first saw it for the first time, unrated, like the theatrical release, the same version as they released in theaters, I realized I saw certain scenes that they had. I realized they'd cut certain scenes just for, viewer discretion advised type of thing, and so that's what. And also, Scary Movie 3, 4, and 5, each one of those, the last three, they were rated PG-13 to, of course, target a broader audience, but at that same time, they followed the Wayne brothers, and so it wasn't rated R anymore, and it couldn't be as nasty. But this one was. Now, I'm all for it, really.
Today, we analyze Scary Movie 6 to see how Hollywood is trying to desensitize you. When I was a kid, my brother took me to watch the first Scary Movie. Obviously, young me found it completely hilarious. It was a product of its time with silly jokes and corny quotables that became all the rage back then.
Facts. That's what I'm saying. Y'all remember the Whazzup? It was hilarious. It was like edgy. It had like really punchy jokes. You know what I'm saying? It was on point, man. You know what I'm saying?
Boom shakalaka.
But now, when I'm just watching a movie and it had its funny moments. Don't get me wrong. But for the most part, I just felt like they was going overboard with a lot of stuff, man. Anyway, let's keep it cool.
As we all remember, those movies opened the doors for a whole genre of parody movies that came out every year.
They did.
Those older movies often featured controversial themes. They're nothing compared to Scary Movie 6. This movie wasn't trying to be funny. It was trying to make inappropriate ideas funny. There are certain things that simply should not be joked about, no matter how much you try to frame them as comedy. Yet, that is exactly what this entire movie was built on. It felt like an attempt to turn very serious, real-world problems into corny punchlines. It almost feels like this movie's intended goal was to desensitize you. Whether this was intentional or not, the effect is undeniable. In a world where so much is unfolding,
why can't they see that they were making fun of a lot of the DEI initiatives that they had done? The very things that people asked Trump to get rid of, and the fact that he got rid of that entire organization. That's what I'm saying. He got rid of that organization because the DEI was an organization, was a part of the federal government that was making it to where basically employers were constricted. They were restricted in some ways. While they were trying to help those of minority status, most of these people that were affected by that status were like not even black or Hispanic. They were just like a part of the LGBT plus community. They were identifying as all kinds of things. He, she, they, they, clay, all kinds of pronouns that you just had to respect, or you risk your employment within the company that you worked at. They reference that. There was a particular character that identifies as they, and there's another particular character that happened to be a girl tomboy transition, and they make fun of that because they know that's what people, they know that's what bothered people during 2022 and beyond, and before and after. So they're making fun of a lot of that. They're making, and scary movies has always been that way. They've always made fun of the societal themes. So keep in mind, look, Marlon Wayans posted an Instagram pic of him supporting the LGBT plus community. Yet he agrees to include something that's making fun of DEI. What does that tell you? Like, he supports them, but at the same time, he knows what was going on that was bothering a lot of people, and he wants to make people laugh and be like, hey, yeah, you remember that period, how you felt? We're making you laugh about it. He's not afraid to do that. Like, as a writer, he's not afraid to include that. So, to me, that's all inclusive shit. And now these people are hating on it. I'm wondering, are they woke or not? I'm wondering, because there's another video I want to watch, and it's just about, I forgot the one that said woke. I really want to check that one out, but
and the public is finally starting to see things differently. It makes perfect sense to produce a comedy that turns these serious situations into a joke. This is exactly how you desensitize an audience. Instead of allowing people to be outraged at what is actually happening,
actually use that.
Laugh at it like it's just another punchline. There are several scenes in this movie that try so hard to make you laugh about things that are not funny at all. Things that should only be taken.
And this is exactly what the woke community would say. They would say these things are not funny. And then people like Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro, they get on YouTube and they talk about, well, we think they're funny. And it becomes this whole leftist versus right thing that I just think is ridiculous. But this sounds like a person who's got a problem with it because it's, you know, you're making fun of people that are gay or whatever. And that's not the point. Like, the character Ray, played by Shawn Wayans, he particularly is gay, but he pretends not to be. He tries to hide it. In the first movie, it was hilarious because he says, like, his brother playing Shorty says, I'll grab his wallet. And then Ray says, I'll grab his ass. He's always making these little gay references, but he tries to play him off. He does it a few times in this movie, Scary Movie 6. I want to move on to this one by Mr. H. Reviews.
Alright guys, Scary Movie reboot continuation. It's not really a reboot, is it? But the Scary Movie has been Scary Movie has been torn apart by critics. We've got our first reviews in, which I always like to do for movies which either I'm personally looking forward to, or movies that you guys are looking forward to, or just movies I think will be interesting to sort of hear about, to be honest. Not even necessarily movies which I'm interested in. I think these videos are they're telling sometimes. Either the disconnect from the critics to the audiences, which we will eventually see when the audience reviews come in, or one of the things I'd like to do, and we'll see if you guys pick up on any today, which, spoiler alert, there's not really any, talking points, studio talking points. Now that's typically when the
Now a lot of these reviewers that have been negatively, that is talking negative about Scary Movie 6, they used to talk about how they didn't like woke agenda in their films. Now we don't have that necessarily with Scary Movie 6, but the people that don't like it are the woke people, the people in the woke, consider the woke community. And the Wayans brothers being black, woke would belong to their race, but yet they're making fun of it because they know how certain people have taken the concept, this African American tone, and just blown it out of proportion. Now, Here's my take on that entire thing. Sorry, white people, but Caucasians have a habit of stealing things from cultures, especially black people, right? Paul Mooney made fun of, mockingly said that they African Americans used to have hair, but now they took the hair. You know, if you're not careful, they'll take me too. You know that because they won't let us have anything. Now, white people took a tone that belonged to black people, aka woke, which basically meant that, you know, a long time ago in the 1930s, which is the setting for the movie Sinners that came out last year, the best original of 2025, which is referenced in Scary Movie, with the certain scene with Shawn Wayne's way in it. That time period was about the discrimination that black people were shown and had to deal with by whites. You probably wouldn't even say discrimination. You would just say flat out racism. You know, despite the KKK, it was a bunch of separation, segregation action, Jim Crow laws. White people and black people had to be separated in public places. You know, there was black and white grocery stores in particular. Black people couldn't go to the grocery store to shop, but only 1 hour a day, and that was like right before closing, while white people were given the rest of the entire store hours to shop all they wanted. But black people were only reserved 1, maybe 2 hours per day, and it was right before closing. You know, and I guess this is where you have a lot of the negative stereotypes with African Americans being shown as thieves, because maybe some of them longed to steal because they didn't have the money and they were like, fuck the times, fuck the hours, let's just take this shit because we're hungry. And over time, white people tried to cast them as thieves, and it just became a negative stereotype, because that's actually in the movie as well. There's a certain character played by Tiana Taylor, I believe her name is. She was in she was in that movie One Battle After Another, and she says no. She says the character says you're black. She says no, I'm black, all caps. And at that point, everybody starts to hide. All the white people start to hide their jewelry, and one white woman even puts the jewelry in her mouth, and she says, "Just take it out your mouth," you know, because you know once a black person announces that they're black, the people start thinking to themselves that they're gonna steal. Those black people are gonna steal from them. But anyway, what I'm saying is, a lot of these woke people in the woke community, they don't like this film because it's making fun of them. But there's other people that didn't like wokeness in their movies. Yet they don't like this film for some reason. You would think they like this film because it's like made for people that, or just regular people. They're not woke. The people that are on the white side are like, they're not Democratic and so like Republicans. But the people that just they don't understand all the woke stuff. They didn't understand it. Now we got a film that's like saying, we understand where you're coming from, and this is how we felt. Watch this movie. You will feel just like this, because there's a point in at the end of it towards where this one white woman says, I'm over 40, how am I supposed to keep up with all this? So, anyway.
The studio will, I don't know, gather a whole bunch of critics and say, hey guys, we'd really like you to review this positively. You know, you'll keep your access, and here are the talking points that we would like you to espouse. Yeah, that does happen. Anyway, we've got the first reviews for Scary Movie, and it's not great. Yeah, it's not great. The social media reactions are pretty terrible. So, yeah. But I will say this, just as an FYI, I think that's because the critics are just woke dipshits. Genuinely. I just think it's because they're woke dipshits. So, like this one, for instance. Scary Movie 2026. One of the earliest jokes involved Shorty saying he didn't like old heads being referred to chopped and unk, which is pretty funny considering most of the film has a big old man yelling at cloud energy over Gen Z. Yeah, but probably at woke culture more than anything, and you can see this as well. Just look it up a little bit more. Apparently, it's outdated on arrival, not that clever, and sometimes mean-spirited in either a transphobic or misogynistic manner. Yeah, it's called comedy, mate. It's a joke, not a dick. Don't take it so hard. Seriously. With its radio silence era Scream framework strung together like horror sketch TikToks on autoplay, based on every horror movie from 2024, 2025. When it's funny, it's hilarious. When it's not, I'm violently shaking, wanting to scream, "Grow up at the screen!" Mate, what is wrong with you? At least it made for a better Scream than Scream 7. Regina and Anna innocent, though underutilized AF more soon. God, that's so funny. Wanting to scream at the screen. Yeah, you're pathetic. Like, actually pathetic. So funny. As happy as I am to see the Wayans family rightfully back at the helm of the franchise, it saddens me to report that Scary Movie is quite awful. The Wayans are so preoccupied trying to poke fun at every horror film, pop culture moment and hot button topic of the past decade. I mean, that was what these were. That they thoughtlessly throw every dart they have at the board, barely able to make anything stick, leaving so much wasted potential on the table. I chuckled occasionally at some inspired gags, and this lovable cast is still a ton of fun to watch, but there isn't much else here. However, I'm fully aware this franchise is critic-proof and that fans will eat it up, which is great, but this one just wasn't for me, plain and simple. Full review in the AM. Bad. I mean, again, this I literally can't get over this one. I'm violently shaking, wanting to scream, "Grow up at the screen." That's so funny. Savagely funny. What a beta bitch. So this one, well, I'm not in the US and the embargo specifically said US, so here are my thoughts on Scary Movie. Scary Movie, aka Scary Movie 6, is packed with non-stop gags and jokes. The sheer number of parodies the film manages to squeeze in is pretty damn impressive, even if not all of them land and some feel thrown in simply for the sake of having another reference. The movie feels very much in the vein of Scream 5, embracing a high level of self-awareness and taking aim at horror movies, prequels, sequels, reboots, and pretty much everything else. There are plenty of jabs at both pop culture and things happening in society today. Leans very heavily into the LGBTQIA humour and jokes. Good.
Shit, that's why I was excited for it.
There are definitely a few jokes and moments that are bound to piss off.
That's what I was excited for. I wanted to see that shit, this DEI attack and shit. I wanted to see them attack DEI because look, if anybody could attack DEI, it would be like them because you know Marlon and Sean Wayne's like, you know, Sean was always playing a gay character. And Marlon Wayans would be like, I'm tired of you young little niggas always trying to change us and all this because nobody their age that was of the white mind didn't want to be like. They didn't want to give in to people saying, you know, to the whole pronoun thing of being required to call somebody by the correct pronoun, having to call somebody they, and then we had the sheriff, and the sheriff. I'm gonna look at my screen here. Am I making sure I'm doing right? And I'm looking at my other screen. The sheriff that's played by, his character named Greg, played by Lochin Moreno. He has a daughter that apparently became a boy. I'm still not sure on how to say certain things, but I wanted to see them attack that so they make fun of that and how confusing that was for everybody.
Just about everyone, but dare I say it, the film was actually tamer than I expected. Oh, interesting. Without spoiling anything, another famous Wayans movie gets a cameo, and there's a K-pop Demon Hunters sequence involving sex and a parody of Golden. It's not particularly well written, but it seemed to play very well with the crowd. Oddly enough, there are also quite a few award season jokes. The entire opening revolves around a recent Oscar nominee and even mentions the Golden Globes. There's also a whole Emmy related bit involving another actor. The movie definitely lacks a narrative that fully makes sense, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't entertained throughout. I didn't laugh out loud all that much, but it consistently got light chuckles and, oh, that's kind of funny, reactions out of me from beginning to end. Yeah, it doesn't sound great. as a review there, it sounds like middling, right? But still, that sounds like someone who just doesn't like that kind of humour, I guess. I don't know. Scary Movie is a pencil-sharp parody filled with absurdity. It's amazing to see Faris, Hall, and the Wayans return. Olivia Rose Keegan is doing a perfect Faris impression. For every one hysterical laugh-out-loud joke, there are about 4 that miss. Still, a very good time. Okay. What's this one? Scary Movie, don't be afraid to laugh. The Wayans brother spawned horror parody franchise has been about a lot of things, most of them gross and dumb. But previously there's been no whiff of nostalgia, just good bad fun as they and their co-conspirators relentlessly cackled past the graveyard. Now, there's a collective shriek of wistful joy as Marlon and Sean Wayans, Anna Faris and Regina Hall, along with a slew of special guests, reunite for a reset quel that celebrates past idiocies, draws swords, and with a new Ghostface, and sends up modern horror, including Sinners, Smile, Weapons, Megan, Get Out, and Scream, blah blah blah. The jokes don't always land, but there's so many, they prompt a rictus grin of appreciation for the effort. So that's quite, and these are relatively positive. Is Scary Movie very silly? For sure. Is it frequently stupid? No doubt, but there's an exuberance to it, which even the first movie doesn't have, and that carries in a way, and carries it a long way. It feels like Tiddies and the Wayans. Tids? What? Just happy to have a license to be goofy more than anything else. Scary Movie is bad. That's kind of what you expect. There are some very funny jokes, a few smart jokes, lots of unfunny jokes, and then lots of long, excruciating sequences of awkward. Sometimes it works, mostly it doesn't, but the film fan in me enjoyed it.
Should have been the damn
Again, some more negative one. Scary Movie is a mixed bag. It knows what it's making fun of, but some of the humour doesn't hit right. It's a savagely raucous take on requel films with a variety of jokes that vary in execution. The good news is that Ghostface's motives actually seemed interesting. And the last one here, Scary Movie plays the hits. Younger fans might not appreciate it as much as the older generation. It's probably because they're woke, but okay. This is still a hilarious skewering of genre tropes and even the series' own history. They did save some of the best gags away from the trailer, so that's good. I mean, it's very mixed, isn't it, really? But there you go. What do you guys think? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Yeah, let me know down below in the comments. What do you reckon? You interested in this?
Then they're gonna come out with the cause she's psychic shit. What's that mouth dude? I had fun with this movie. I mean, I don't want to watch all the out of theater reactions, but like if I watch this Australian guy right here, let's see what he thinks. He obviously not American. Yeah.
So last year when the Wayans brothers announced that they were coming back to do Scary Movie 6, I was ecstatic. I did a video covering the announcement. To me, the first Scary Movie, it still sticks with me to this very day in terms of like quotability, references between me and my mates. And then with Scary Movie 2, though not as strong as Scary Movie 1, it just didn't capture that lightning in a bottle, but it did a pretty damn good job. Like following up from something so popular and successful as Scary Movie. And I know I need to reference and give a shout out to Shriek If You Know What I Did Last Friday the 13th, because apparently technically that came first, but then because of Scary Movie, it didn't get a theatrical release. It just went straight to VHS. Shriek If You Know What I Did Last Friday the 13th, because apparently technically that came first, but then
oh yeah, I forgot all about that. I remember that, but I forgot all about it, you know.
Because of Scary Movie, it didn't get a theatrical release. It just went straight to VHS. But it is pretty shocking to watch. And, you know, Scary Movie ultimately came out on top. When it came to Scary Movie 3, nowhere near as strong because the Wayans brothers had departed. They had cut ties. And then with 4 and 5, they are pretty abysmal. So after that, and that was 2013, things had laid dormant in the Scary Movie franchise, and we had other spoofs, we had like superhero movie, disaster movie, like all those shockers. And again, the whole parody spoof genre, it's a very specific one. You either love it, you either hate it. And then again, when they announced Scary Movie 6, the Wayans brothers were coming back, Sean, Marlon, Keenan was coming back, not to direct, but help write. I got very, very excited. They said they weren't going to be holding back. You know, nothing was off limits. nothing was safe, and they had this treasure trove of brand new modern horror films to take the piss out of. Like, you watch the trailer, you see they take the piss out of Megan, Halloween 2018, Get Out, Terrifier, Weapons as well, and most notably, because that's what they originally referenced and took the piss out of in the first film, was Scream. But this time around, we've got that next generation of Scream films, you know, Scream 5, 6, and 7, even though they don't reference 7 because by the time 7 came out, you know, they'd finished filming and all that jazz. So yeah, tried to taper my expectations. Chloe and I had the premiere last night here in Sydney. I will say the activation was fucking sick. There was fried chicken and chips and everything. It was good shit. As soon as the film started, the first sequence, and I won't give away spoilers, but I will say it is a piss take on the opening of Scream 6. Something felt off. Something didn't feel right. And collectively, there was a lot of silence amongst the audience during this opening sequence. And that's when you've got to hook the audience. And then throughout its hour and a half runtime, this was unfortunately disappointing. And I hate saying that, man. I had such high hopes. I was ready to properly laugh again. I think after Naked Gun with Liam Neeson, that restored my faith in like how spoof and comedy should be and how it was back in the day. So that gave me high hopes. I think the biggest problem with this film is the jokes just don't feel like they've been completed. It felt like they've been half-assed or not refined enough. They're setting up the payoff, and the payoff just doesn't really happen. There are moments where I was laughing, but it was for like a couple of seconds. And collectively, and mostly me, I was doing the, that's not good, especially when the Wayans brothers are coming back. I will say this, it was so good to see Marlon Wayans back as Shorty. It was great to see Sean Wayans back as Ray. I love the character of Ray. Even in the trailer, when the guy's like, do some half gay shit, and Ray's just like, well, only half gay. Just, I don't know why, it just takes me back to the first film. Just like what Ray would get up to was just brilliant. But not only that, we've got Anna Faris return, we've got Regina Hall, we've got Lachlan Monroe, we've got John Abrahams, the guy that plays Doofy. And for the most part, most of those characters are just reduced to little cameos. I will say though, Dave Sheridan back as Doofy, like he hasn't missed a beat. Like obviously everyone's aged. And I felt he got some ample screen time. But I think as well, like, again, you've got this whole array of horror films, modern horror films, and like each end of the spectrum. Like the thinking person's horror film, but then like your slash and dash horror film. So you go from like Get Out to Terrifier. The Wayans have this all at their disposal. And I just felt like they didn't capitalize on it properly. Just the jokes just did not land for me. And I know comedy is subjective. There are definitely going to be people, and there were people there last night that were like, I loved it. It was an absolute hoot. But I think also it's one of those things where you look at the first Scary Movie, not the second, because the first one really focused on Scream. And by the time the first one came out, we had Scream 1, Scream 2, and it came out the same year as Scream 3. And it was just so fresh. It was so original, even though it was taking the piss out of something that had already existed. I think by the time this one rolled around, and for the most part, they're really focusing on, say, the Scream 5 and 6 story beats, but in spoof form. I just think by now, it's just that tired, like, yes, we've got into Scream 5, 6, and 7, and it's not as pure, fresh, and original as what we had back in the day. And yeah, they definitely do cross boundaries. They take the piss out of what's really relevant today, and like there's like the story beat as well of Shorty, who's now a streamer, and like capitalizing on that, and just the piss take of like influencers getting paid to do fuck all, like stuff like that I really did appreciate. And again, one
people like this reviewer here, like I can't stand it how movie reviewers such as Chris Stanley here, and I guess I should just subscribe to him so I can get more of his, make sure I click all. I cannot stand it how they get money just by doing nothing but looking into the camera, and I'm pointing to my camera, and or the microphone, notice I'm pointing to my right because my mic is to my, well, I'm pointing to my left because my mic is to my left. They speak into the microphone and look into the camera, make a video and post it, and you know, make a video, upload it, okay, make a video, edit it, upload it, and post it. And I'm trying to do it in chronological order. And they get paid for said video via views, likes, clicks, subscribers, That's why they ask you to like and subscribe every time. Like I'm asking YouTube, please and like and subscribe this live stream, because I don't make that many videos. I do mostly live streams, but I don't like it how they get paid through YouTube's monetization program, and also through sponsors. And that's what Marlon Wayans was kind of making fun of, is how these influencers get, they get paid. They're like, we're gonna have a live stream and just get paid basically by doing nothing while you dumb motherfuckers watch. And they call me dumb. I can't say the line right, but that's basically how it is. Anyway, that's basically the entirety of many YouTubers, is that they, or influencers of sort. Anyway.
One thing I will give the movie credit for, it's not afraid to go there, to go to those places. And again, the problem is that while the movie is like willing to push those boundaries, the jokes just aren't landing enough. Like a lot of the setups feel like they're building towards this big punchline. You get excited, it builds that momentum, there's that foreplay, but the payoff either falls flat or like never really arrives. It just felt like some of these, it just felt like a lot of these jokes just hadn't been fleshed out properly. And again, so much potential with the material that is at their disposal. Like John Abrahams, who played Bobby in the first film, he's back this time around, but it's a blink and you miss it thing. I'm like, if you're going to have the OG cast back, even Lachlan Monroe, who played Greg in the first film, I don't know, man. There could have been so much more. And again, it clocks in at like an hour and a half, and this is the longest runtime of any scary movie in the franchise. I would have, been happy with an hour 45 or 2 hour, and if it meant that those guys got more screen time and fleshed them out a bit more. And I know that saying fleshed out in a parody spoof film is a little bit redundant, but at the same time, when you love these characters from the first film and they're memorable, they're quotable, and they're coming back, and yes, they are cashing in on nostalgia, and it did tickle my nostalgia heartstrings. I don't know, just wanted to see more, man. I think something also that was very telling was the cinema I was in, and given the fact that we're at a premiere, there are a lot of influences there that, they're the hype people, they gotta hype this up for their audience. Even if for the most part, in my experience, if the film is pretty crook, people are like laughing and cheering and everything, and they come out, they're like, it was so good, man. Collectively, in that cinema, there's a lot of silence and just a lot of like me. And I'm like, oh, shit. But also Chris Elliott returning as Hanson. We see so much of him in the trailer, the marketing material, and just like John Abrahams, just like Dave Sheridan, just wasted potential, man. It just felt like we need to get all these people back. They're not going to have much screen time, but we just need to remind people that at one point we had this beautiful hit of a film back in the year 2000. So again, I don't hate this film, guys. I think, obviously, my expectations were very high, and comedy is so subjective. Comedy is so fucking hard to do. I think it is one of the hardest things to write, let alone horror as well, like crafting that perfect jump scare. I just feel like with a lot of these jokes and these skits, the payoff just did not land. It just felt like an afterthought, or it was a work in progress. Like all these jokes were constantly works in progress. I still loved as well the approaches they had to spoofing all these certain horror films. Again, like you have each end of the spectrum, like say Get Out, Terrify, and then you like meet halfway with Halloween 2018, and you see Cindy's like Laurie Strode in Halloween 2018, and then by the end she's like back to the Sydney Campbell we know and love, and she's no longer affected by the trauma and goes up against the Ghostface killer. So yeah, it was cool to see the Wayans back. I really do have a soft spot for him, but I just felt like they didn't capitalize on all this material they had at their disposal. And I just felt like the jokes just could have been just punched up so many more times. And yeah, they do go to those certain places. They definitely don't hold back. I just felt like there was more there, and unfortunately it wasn't. So with that, I'm going to be giving Scary Movie, or Scary Movie 6, Scary Movie the Reboot, 2 slits out of 5. So guys, if you do go check out Scary Movie 6, drop a comment below, let me know your thoughts. How did the jokes land for you? Where does this rank in the franchise? I rewatched 5 the other night, and it's a shocker, man. And that's the thing, like 1 and 2 I always have in that pocket by themselves, obviously because of the Wayans. But this one coming back, I think just as well, it's maybe just a little too late. And like I said, after Naked Gun with Liam Neeson, I was like, hell yes. Like, this is the template. This is what we need to go off with, reinstating my hope in spoof and comedy. And I just, like Marlon Wayans said in interviews, like, the world needs to properly belly laugh once again. And yeah, unfortunately, I did not get that. Love you guts. and I'll catch you in the next one.
Yeah, I'm trying not to, because there's a trap, and you don't have to do that, because you got it right there, man. Anyway. Yeah, oh, what? See, that's what I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure I added this. Shouldn't be in that. And I'm just gonna open these and see whatever I have. I take a lot of time doing this, don't I? Quickly. I think I watched Jeremy Jahns. You know? Let me see if I watched him.
Scary Movie's back, baby! The world needs this. It's just a perfect fit. If you want to... Let's lean into it and enjoy it. And now the Wayans are back with Scary Movie for the first time since Scary Movie 2. Let's talk about it. So Scary Movie is Scary Movie 6, but it's just called Scary Movie. Therein lies the first joke of the film, and probably also the best. It's the Wayans brothers coming back to the franchise that they started. Back in the year 2000, the Wayans brothers got together and released a Scream slasher flick parody that also spoofed pop culture, film in general, Scary Movie. The Wayans brothers also did Scary Movie 2, and then the Weinsteins were like, well, that's made us a lot of money, and it will make a lot of money going forward in the future with a franchise, so let's just push the Wayans brothers out of it. The Wayans brothers came back to do A Haunted House, which is not Scary Movie, legally speaking, but the Wayans have Scary Movie again. That's awesome. Now, I won't lie, I was going into this movie, the intro happens, it's an intro like a Scream movie. In fact, it does very much spoof a Scream movie. And the intro was solid. I was like, okay, I feel like I'm in for something here. And then, like that person that makes a point, and then they keep talking and lose the point, this movie commits a cardinal sin. It keeps going. From what I can remember, Scary Movie, I've seen those movies once in theaters. The theater I worked at when Scary Movie 1 and 2 came out, I remember everybody loving those movies more than I did. However, those movies still had memorable moments that made me laugh. That scene in Scary Movie 2 where James Woods walks in as the priest, the exorcist girl spins her head around and he goes, "Fuck this," remains, it gives me a laugh to this day. The scene where Beetlejuice is in the dude's head, like the Wayans brothers, I feel with Scary Movie, have always had a good beginning and end. If I'm thinking back, I feel like the flaws in this movie are present in the previous Scary Movie movies. It's lowbrow humor, raunch comedies, a lot of dick and ball jokes, but to what end? You know, are you trying to recapture it for a new generation, or are you trying to appeal to the fans that loved Scary Movie 1 and 2? In which case, they're older now. But that point being, as I zoomed out, I noticed that was kind of like a fractal. When you zoom out, you see the same pattern, it's just bigger now. These jokes that don't really land are isolated in scenes that don't really land. Because every scene is a self-contained scene in a bubble. Don't know how we got here. Doesn't really lead to anything. It's just a scene for the sake of a bit or a joke. That in large part, that's right, is probably not going to land. Reminds me of Trey Parker and Matt Stone. There's a video out there of them talking about screenwriting.
We can take these beats, which are basically the beats of your outline, and if the words "and then" belong between those beats, you're basically you got something pretty boring. What should happen between every beat that you've written down is either the word "therefore" or "but." Should be "this happens," and "therefore this happens." But this happens, therefore this happens.
Scary Movie is the textbook case of a script that is this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. Isolated moments in a bubble with sometimes a chuckle, most of the times not a laugh, that don't really connect. In fact, if you nuke 75% of the scenes in this movie, you'll still have a movie. It won't really disrupt the plot at all. That, I feel, is where Naked Gun just did it better. They should have taken a lesson from Naked Gun. Though they do have a joke in here, I don't want to say they took it, but it's very similar to Naked Gun. Are they spoofing Naked Gun? If you spoof the spoof, isn't it just called doing the same thing? Production is crazy. Scary Movie could have been written first. Could have gone into production first. I don't know. That will be the battle. Who did that first? But Naked Gun's a spoof that actually has a thread going through the film, a plot you're following. Scenes of spoof humor, scenes of, in fact, dark humor that gave me that feeling of, I didn't expect them to make that joke. Okay. And it made me laugh. I'm just saying that's key. Naked Gun had its priorities straight. It stuck the landing better. But I feel like this movie, what it was pitching was really what it concentrated on. The bummer is it concentrated that over comedy. And that is, no one's safe. Everyone's gonna get offended. Dude, I'm down for that. But are people gonna laugh? I feel like that should be the goal. Don't feel that was the case here. I didn't laugh much. Sadly, the movie wasn't that funny. I mean, it's a comedy. If it doesn't make you laugh, it's not doing its job. A movie that doesn't do its job is just a sequence of frames flashing in front of your eyes, wasting your time. So many jokes feel like it's set up for a joke, but they didn't really commit to making it a joke. Dick jokes for the sake of dick jokes, weed jokes for the sake of, hi, getting stoned, that's funny. It was amusing when it was illegal across the nation. It's been a couple decades, man. No one gives a shit about weed anymore. People in Portland are like, get on our level. And the point is, the Wayans are absolutely comedic talents. I stand by In Living Color. Incredible sketch comedy show. And once again, the lesson is hard copies for life. But whereas this is the Wayans brothers back with the rights to Scary Movie, Keenan Ivory Wayans directed Scary Movie 1 and 2. He didn't direct this. This is the director of, hold on, bangers like Half-Baked Totally High. There was a new Half-Baked movie? I didn't even know that. Naked, 50 Shades of Black, Haunted House 2, Haunted House. That tracks. Like, that makes more sense. If someone was like, hey, from the crew that brought you those movies, I'd be like, yeah. Funny enough, the end of the movie I thought was great. The last 15 minutes or so of this movie cracked me up, had quite a few laughs in it. I was like, where was this energy for the previous hour or so? The only thing offensive about this movie is it didn't really make me laugh. I get props to the beginning and the end, but the rest of the movie I'm not gonna remember in T-1 day. Yep, already forgot. Funny enough, Masters of the Universe is the superior comedy right now. So enjoy Obsession for the 17th time. Alright, so Scary Movie. The 6th one, or the 1st, whatever. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Or what's your favorite scary movie? Whatever it is, whatever you think, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.
It's continuing to make a lot of money in the box office.
Every line will be crossed, huh?
I think every line has been crossed. Cody. Some of these people just don't know how to laugh. I mean, it's just like my internet doesn't know how to stay on top. It just keeps going in and out.
What is up, guys? Welcome to my review of Scary Movie. This is also known as Scary Movie 6, of course, and this is, oddly enough, one of my more anticipated movies of the year. And I say oddly enough because a lot of you know I'm not really a big fan of parody or spoof comedies. We did the 31 on 31 Night of Comedy a couple years back, and it included some of the more celebrated spoof parody comedies of all time, like with Mel Brooks movies and Airplane, and despite having such huge fan bases, those movies just don't tend to operate on my wavelength. They're not my style of comedy. But despite that, I actually really enjoy the first two Scary movies back in the 2000s. There's a couple of parody and spoof movies from the 2000s that I really enjoy. I think some of that was just my age. It hit me at the right time before I had fully matured, and my humor was still pretty juvenile at the time. But for whatever reason, I enjoy those first two. Have not enjoyed any other movie in this franchise since. And ever since I heard that the Wayans brothers were going to be back involved with this franchise, making their long-awaited return, basically doing a spiritual sequel to those first two films, I have had a lot of high hopes for how funny and how needed a comedy like this could be in today's climate. I've said so many times that whether it's because of political correctness, whether it's because of just shifting cultures, whatever, Hollywood being nervous, it feels like comedies are pretty much the one dying genre of film. Like, we get sprinkles of comedy in our action movies and in our dramedies and in our Marvel films. And so it feels like we get like sprinkles of it, but we don't get actual tried and true comedies anymore. And I really miss those theatrical experiences. I miss going to see things like The 40-Year-Old Virgin, or even something a little bit more lowbrow like Saving Silverman or the American Pie movies. I miss going to the theaters with a crowd of people and just holding your side, laughing with everybody else at a genuinely funny movie. And it just feels like that era is gone. Now, I didn't necessarily put all of that onto the shoulders of Scary Movie, as this is going to be the film to save the comedy genre, but I had hoped that with the Wayans brothers coming back, if anybody can at least give us a taste of what it used to be like, or at least put a movie out there that maybe is the first step in the right direction of having comedy be a little bit more present in filmmaking nowadays, they could potentially be the ones to do it. They have been some of the most successful voices in comedies since the late 80s. I mean, they had a couple of decades there where everything that they touched, everything that they put out was gold. And ever since this thing was announced back in 2024, they have been going hard with the promises, telling us that we're going to get back to the way that these movies were. We're like reclaiming our thrones, the marketing, the posters saying every line will be crossed, and them talking about all of the topical things that they're going to be making fun of and roasting and parodying. It felt like they were really going to go for broke. They were going for blood with their comedy. This is going to be something that might offend a lot of people, but it's going to absolutely poke fun at everybody and just punch in every single direction. And hearing all that did was give me higher hopes. All that did was raise my expectations. All that did was give me even more faith that this was going to be a film that was going to be such a welcome breath of fresh air. And because of all of that, Scary Movie 6 is easily going to end up on my list of most disappointing films of 2026. As of right now, it is my number one, and it's going to take one hell of a film to dethrone it, because I didn't like this at all. Starting off with the positives, and this is going to be an interesting review. You can't really unpack a parody comedy the way that you can unpack many other types of films. Nobody really goes to these movies for cinematography or storytelling or acting, so it really just comes down to an answer of whether it made you laugh or not, and you can pretty much assume what my answer to that's going to be. But to try to follow somewhat of a guideline of my typical review, I'll give a few positives. I do think that Anna Faris and Marlon Wayans specifically really did feel inspired with what they were doing. It felt like they were excited to come back. They were really trying to recapture, what we liked about their characters in the first two movies. I think that there is somewhat of a warm presence of having all four of these original characters back. And there's a number of scenes that really do play on that nostalgia. The movie very much is taking shots at nostalgia, but it gives you a couple of doses of nostalgia at the same time, and I think it works. There are a couple of scenes where they're deliberately doing callbacks. They're having a returning character from one of the first two films, and in some ways kind of revisiting some of the bits, some of the more famous lines or pieces of those characters' presences in those first two films that I actually think was done pretty well. You got Doofy in here. You got the caretaker from the second movie, a few others that I won't spoil, but those have pretty much all been let out in the marketing. I do think that the opening and like the last 10 or 15 minutes of the movie is pretty decent. Like the first 10 minutes or so, I wasn't necessarily dying laughing, but I was enjoying myself. And so it set it off in a nice tone where I'm like, okay, it feels like we're in some pretty good hands. It does feel like we're somewhat back into the caliber of the first two films. Let's see where this goes. Pretty much everything after that, all the way up to the climax, I thought failed miserably at matching that. But there is some very self-referential humor in the last little bit here where we're talking about the legacy of this franchise, and it kind of like mirrors the Scream drama in a lot of ways where they're taking shots at Scary Movie 3, 4, and 5. And I thought there was something like very charming and warm and also somewhat funny about the fact that even though there are people in the cast that were a part of those films, they're still going to have fun with it. They're still going to poke fun of it in a way that's not like pointing the finger at Anna Faris or Anthony Anderson or any of these other people. They're making them a part of the joke of like, what the fuck happened after Scary Movie 2? Like, what the hell, guys? Give us an explanation. I thought that was mildly clever, especially in light of the Scream situation, which very eerily mirrors this, where it feels like there is just no shot in the future whatsoever with Neve Campbell and Courtney Cox and Jenna Ortega and Melissa Barrera doing anything like this, where they're back together and just kind of like, oh, well, yeah, there was a dark era there. It doesn't feel like that's in the cards at all. So it's kind of cool to see the Scary Movie cast be able to have that moment and have fun with it. Moving on to the mixed, I will say that they are pretty ambitious here with the number of things that they are parodying. I mean, there is like a decade plus of horror hits and even pop culture things that they are trying to take shots at here. They're also really expanding into culture, politics, all these other things, and I'll have more thoughts on that. But this is one of those like joke a minute type movies. So it depends on your taste and why I'm putting it here in the mixed, whether that's going to work for you or not. For some people, and I would say I pretty much belong to this crowd, it makes it to where the jokes that do land are so sparing compared to the amount that you went for that overall it feels like it almost dilutes how effective the comedy is. But I know other people, and I've already seen some reactions online where the more that you try, the more stuff that you're throwing at the wall, whether it sticks or not, people just enjoy that. They enjoy the fact that you are just taking shots left and right at every waking thing you can think of, and they appreciate the ambition. So that's for you to decide where you fall in that camp. But they are looking at a lot of different movies, a lot of different things in pop culture. So there's a ton of things that are on the docket for Scary Movie 6. But moving on to the negatives, I didn't think this movie was funny at all. I legitimately laughed one time, and it was at a White Chicks reference. So it's not even at the fact that it's a good joke. It's just, oh, you made me remember a much funnier movie. Good on you. Not to say that I was like miserable the whole film. Like there's plenty of stretches. There's plenty of bits that are mildly amusing, or you'll have like a little, you'll have a mild emotional reaction of like, okay, that was like a 2 out of 5 on the entertainment scale there. And as I said, they're going for a lot of different jokes. So there's even probably a lot of background gags that you're not even capable of seeing the first time that I don't see myself watching this a second time, but if I did watch it a second time, maybe there's a lot of very clever things going on beyond just what's in front in the foreground of the shot that might actually make me laugh. But the writing here, for having the Wayans brothers come back and like restake their claim into this franchise, now they are co-writing this, but for their names being what this is marketed off of and them themselves pushing so much of the marketing and the press releases and everything, like basically promising to all the fans that this is going to go back to the glory days. We're back. Daddy's home, baby. We back. I don't think the comedy writing here is anywhere near as strong as it was in those first two films. Certainly not even compared to some of the other stuff that I know and love the Wayans for. Almost every single joke in this film feels like they all sat in a room with a whiteboard and just made a gigantic list of all the things that they want to reference here, but forgot to actually write a punchline. Like so many bits here just feel like a passing reference without anything actually funny or subversive or any sort of payoff actually being involved with it. Especially the political humor, which let's touch on that for a moment here. Like there is unfortunately a lot of things about modern American politics that is just a absolute gold mine for very sharp comedians to mine from. I mean, there are so many ridiculous things, whether you are in support of the administration or not. On its surface, there are so many things that you could easily do very funny bits, whether it's stand-up, parody, comedy, anything like that. because it just feels like we're living in a simulation sometimes. Some of the shit that you see on the news or on Twitter or wherever it is that you get your current events, you're just like, how the fuck is this real? But with that being said, almost everything that they are actually going for and taking shots with here when it comes to the current administration or people affiliated with the current administration, it feels like jokes that have already been done to death by this point. There's literally a moment in this movie where Ghostface calls one of the characters and he's like, I know your secret. And they're like, no, I wasn't doing a Nazi salute. I was just like throwing my heart out to the crowd. That is the style of humor that you get for not just the political humor, but most of the bits in this movie. Like Ghostface.
And I didn't capture that the first time. But I think the third time I caught it. That was Sydney doing it, and that's the reference to Elon Musk when he did this. My heart goes out to you. That was
in this universe hasn't been seen or referenced or talked about in like 25, 26 years, however long it's been since the first Scary Movie. So why wouldn't you have a moment where like maybe the first kill of
exactly 26 years? Because if we go into you see, you look at let me look at the cast here. Oh, I'm sorry, I gotta look at the release date, but yeah, that's director Keenan Evan Rains. 2000. It was released July the 7th, so almost exactly 26 years. Oopsie.
of the movie where Ghostface is stabbing somebody in the street, people that normally would see that and freak out back in the 2000s in the first Scary Movie, they walk by and they see Ghostface killing somebody and they're like, holy shit, like he's a celebrity. They're pulling out their cell phones and videotaping him, asking for fucking selfies and shit like that. And then he's like, oh my God, things are totally like different nowadays. And he's posing and totally loves the fact that he's got fans. And then he does I almost fucking did it. I don't need that shit floating around Reddit. He does the Elon Musk thing. And then everybody freaks out and turns on him. Like they're more offended about that than him stabbing somebody. Like that's off the cuff. That's off the top of my fucking head. That would have been 10 times funnier than them just mentioning it on the phone. And especially with the political stuff, like, my God, you gotta make that funny. You gotta make that smart and actually something that shocks you in a good way. Just bringing it up, all it does is just drag down the enjoyment level. There are so many of us out there, dare I say the majority of us. I don't want to speak for everybody, but it feels like it's the majority of us that no matter where you stand politically, you're just exhausted with it. That's everyday life. We hear about it every waking fucking moment that we are plugged into anything. Going to see a stupid comedy like Scary Movie, the last thing that I want is a third to half of the jokes about Trump and ICE and Elon Musk, and it's just like, oh my God, fucking reference movies. But to be fair, even their movie reference parody jokes don't really. There used to be a nice little bridge here where you would have lowbrow, juvenile, low-hanging fruit humor like that, but it would also be met with genuinely smart, clever, funny bits. And when they're all in a nice little marriage and harmony together, they work. But when everything is lowbrow and everything is just like quick little passive references and low-hanging fruit jokes that have already been told 1,000 times before this movie came out, it's just not funny. There's nothing else to say about it. It's just not funny. And especially for the fact that they went so hard hyping everybody up that they're just going to roast everybody. They're taking shots at everything. Nobody is safe. Literally on the poster, and I've mentioned this 3 times in this review, every line will be crossed. They're poking a toe over the line. Like, they're making fun of, like, there was a list on Twitter or something of, like, the things that the Wayans brothers just said, like, not even a couple of days ago that we're going to be talking about. Me Too, COVID, the transgender movement, the influencer movement, TikTokers, all that kind of stuff. 90% of the shit outside of, like, really thick movie references that they're poking fun at is just in one line of dialogue. Like having a character that comes in and says, hey, remember when you used to give blowjobs? And the response is, well, I don't give blowjobs anymore after Me Too. I just give hand jobs. Are you laughing? I am not at all one of those people that feels like certain sensitive subjects should be off limits for comedy. I am quite the opposite. I think that comedy, when done right, can actually make a lot of us just get along so much better and get through some of these tough subjects, or even look back at dark times and look back and laugh. It just brings joy, even out of the darkest subjects, when it's done right. But you don't just get credit for taking shots at everything. Like listing out the fact that you're going to do Me Too and the transgender movement and, you know, Trump administration and COVID, listing out all these things that are on the chopping block. You don't get credit for taking shots unless they actually land, unless they actually pay off with a good joke.
He stabbed her! Not her! My pronouns are they, them. He stabbed them!
Again, the only thing that it felt like they genuinely put some heart and some creativity into to try to make funny is the references to the Wayans brothers being cut out of the last 3 movies at the tail end of the film. And even that feels like a big missed opportunity, which I have to expect that Spyglass had a hand in telling them, no, we're not going to put that in the film. But I know for a fact that Melissa Barrera for a while has been like, hey, I'll be in the movie, write something for me. This is comedy gold right here. Spoiler alert, she's not in the movie. And so even that, even her coming into the film for just like a passing cameo in that moment could have made that 10 times funnier. But she's not, and so it's not. The only other thing that I'll say here before I wrap everything up is that, you know, I praised earlier that Anna Faris and Marlon Wayans really felt like their heart was in this, like they were really trying to do their best and give it their all for the fans. And I have to be honest, it felt like Sean Wayans didn't want to be in this at all. I could be wrong. Maybe it's just the way they wrote his character. Maybe it's just something else going on. But Marlon feels like he's trying his best to just slip back into Shorty's shoes as if he never missed a beat. And same with Anna Faris. Sean just didn't have much life to him here. I've seen him be much livelier in the first 2 films and White Chicks, other things. Here, he just doesn't feel like he's all that into what's going on. Maybe it's the fact that his character is just like a recurring gay joke, but that was kind of the joke in the first 2 films. Not quite as redundant as it is here, where he doesn't do anything on screen other than be a gay joke. But whatever reason, he didn't feel like he wanted to be here. And I kind of felt the same way about Regina Hall. Now, Regina Hall, of these 4, has really gone on to do a lot of like dramatic stuff, and her career has actually went really well outside of doing comedies. So maybe she feels like this is kind of like in the past and maybe a little bit beneath her. I really have no idea. But, you know, she's fine. She does have some good moments and some good chemistry with Anna Faris. And again, maybe it's just the way that they wrote her character, where she's just supposed to be like the Octavia Spencer parody the entire movie. But their presence is not nearly as strong, not nearly as nostalgic, not nearly as fun to watch as Anna Faris and Marlon Wayans. So whether it's their fault or the writing, that's how I felt about it. So look, guys, this is a comedy. This is a parody comedy at that. So it really just comes down to whether or not you think it's funny. And comedy, just like horror, is among the most subjective genre in film, where what makes me laugh might not be funny at all to you, and vice versa. What scares and unnerves me might not be effective at all to you, and vice versa. So if you are somebody like myself that really enjoys the first 2 films and you've really been excited about this, give it a shot, because there are some people out there that are enjoying this. It seems to be in the minority so far, and we'll see where things shake by the time everybody sees it this weekend. But give it a shot. You might actually laugh a lot more than me. But I just got to be honest. For a movie that its one job is to make me laugh, and there's really nothing else that I'm coming to this movie for, they failed pretty epically here, and it's very disappointing. I'm disappointed in the Wayans and whatever effort they gave here. I'm not excited at all about a Scary Movie 7, and I'm sure this is going to be successful enough to merit it. I just miss laughing in the theaters, man. I really do. Whatever fucking form it needs to take, I want some shred of how I felt about comedy to return again. I want to be able to go to a couple comedies a year, and even if one of them fails, one or two of them really make me laugh with everybody else in the theater. And it's just felt for like maybe 15 or so years now that's just not it anymore. That's just not what happens. You might get one or two genuinely hilarious movies every 5 years, and that might even be generous. So, Scary Movie, big disappointment. Right now, my most disappointing film of the year. Not much else to say. Well, that's it for this one, guys. If you enjoyed that, please click over here for all of my 2026 new release reviews. If you want an extreme tonal shift from a Scary Movie review, check out this tier list I did up here on all of the A24 films that I've seen. Pretty big list, 49 or so films on that one. Like, share, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss everything in the future. And as always, remember, opinions are like assholes, but that doesn't mean you have to be.
Scary Movie 6, now just titled Scary Movie, finally brings back the Wayans brothers for another installment. This time around, we follow Cindy Campbell and her daughter, who are being stalked once again by Ghostface. Together, they must round up the old cast to try and figure out who is killing them one by one. And that's all pretty much any spoilers to you guys. This will be a spoiler-free review. Probably gonna make a spoiler review just to talk about some of the crazy surprises in this movie. But for now, keeping it spoiler-free. Look, I am a lover of the Scary Movie franchise. Admittedly, those movies didn't exactly get any better as they went along, and some of them have definitely gotten dated, but I've always been just a fan of parody movies. No matter how awful they get, I just feel like there's always some enjoyment about making fun of the things you love. And now being older and understanding the behind the scenes with the Wayans brothers and how the franchise was taken from them, and now they finally get it back, and now all the old cast members from Anna Faris, Regina Hall, Marlon, and Shawn Wayans, it's like, okay, I just want to have a fun time. And just the fact you're also bringing back parody Ghostface, I love parody Ghostface. So I headed to my local theater. I just want to have a fun time. There were no press screenings for this, wanting just to have fun. I'll say I had fun. But man, I was kind of hoping to laugh a little harder. And look, I get it. It's kind of weird to even critique movies like Scary Movies because they're purposely made to just be these idiotic, fart joke and piss kind of movies. But even then, let's be honest with ourselves. There is a difference between stupid fun, which I would say were the first three movies, and then just plain old stupid garbage, which was Scary Movie 5. There is an art form to parody. There is a way for you to cleverly tell a fart or piss joke. Okay, yes, I believe in that. And so starting with the things I like that this movie did, it's only fitting that this movie takes its cues from Scream 5. It's almost funny the way the world is worked because the original Scary Movie was mainly focused on parodying Scream and then sprinkling things around that story. It's honestly the best way to go about it. So when that franchise has already created the formula and blueprint for a reboot legacy sequel, which is what they're making fun of, you just stick to that movie and you throw in random little parodies throughout. And as a big Scream fan and enjoyer of Scream 5, I liked all the poking fun they did at Scream 5. You have, of course, our stand-ins for Jack Quaid and Melissa Barrera, who are Sarah and Jack. And believe it or not, Olivia Rose Keegan, who they got to be in this movie, I think actually perfectly emulates the daughter of Cindy Campbell. She actually has a lot of her same expressions, way of speaking, mannerisms, all of it. I'm like, dang, they actually cast somebody that is a good duplicate for Anna Faris. I would say same goes for all the new cast members that are jokes of Scream 5 cast members. So I didn't find the new cast members annoying. That's kind of the thing that always sucks sometimes with these legacy sequels, even in the case where they take them seriously, is you rarely ever like the new cast as much as the old cast. They were fine, but it was more finally seeing the old cast back. Anna Faris and Regina Hall, when they get back together and share that chemistry, it just works, man. Nobody has ever played the dumb blonde perfectly other than Anna Faris. She still makes me laugh. She still has great line delivery. Same goes for Regina Hall as Brenda. As someone who has missed Shawn Wayans in appearing in stuff, I liked the segments involved with him in parodying Sinners. I was a little iffy on how they were going to handle Shorty, but I think him kind of being a parody of like Twitch streamers, maybe it'll severely date the movie in like 5 years, but for now it was funny. And although not necessarily a cast member, but a character I liked that was back was parody Ghostface. He's used a lot more this time around than the original, and they give him a lot of different masks, probably for, you know, merchandising reasons. But Ghostface as a character himself still makes me laugh, and I think it's funny all the little dumb situations he gets himself in. I was also kind of impressed with the amount of movies they actually got to parody. There's a lot of movies, and I felt like Leonardo DiCaprio just constantly pointing at the screen going, oh, I got that one. Oh, I understand that. I was like, oh, they're making fun of that movie now. But admittedly, I think it's even just the ending and the motivation and reveals of the Ghostface at the end where I felt it was just probably the best part. Such a great fourth wall break. And those were some of the better jokes in the movies, is when they were actually breaking the fourth wall, speaking directly to the audience. This one is definitely meant for the people who enjoyed the early scary movies, not just for the references and callbacks to those movies, because there are a lot, but it's also for fans of the Wayans brothers. There's some prizes in here I wasn't expecting, and cameos that I was like, oh, okay, wow, they did that. It made it to where it's fun enough, and I'd be willing to place this scary movie in the category of better scary movie films that weren't utter garbage. I could actually see myself maybe popping this one on one more time. Whereas for Scary Movie 5, I really don't ever want to see that movie again. But still, I feel like there could have been maybe some improvements or things to really elevate it, okay? I know people will look at that Rotten Tomatoes score and go, oh, it's because they got offended. It's because they went too far. Oh, somebody's booty hurts, little critic? Yeah. Come on now. I think we live in a time now where critics are way more understanding for the type of offended is because they went to look at that Rotten Tomatoes things to really elevate it, okay? I know people will look at that Rotten Tomatoes score and go, oh, it's because they got offended. It's because they went to really don't ever want to see that movie again. But still, I feel like there movie 5, I could actually see myself maybe popping this one on one more time. Whereas for Scary Movie 5, I really don't ever want to see that movie again. But still, I feel like there could have been maybe some improvements or things to really elevate it, okay? I know people will look at that Rotten Tomatoes score and go, oh, it's because they got offended. It's because they went too far. Oh, somebody's booty hurts, little critic? Yeah. Come on now. I think we live in a time now where critics are way more understanding for the type of movie offered if that movie within its own category is good. I mean, look at something like Naked Gun. That were always stupid fun movies, but they actually made a decent parody, and so the critics responded and liked it. The reason I think this one got lower scores than that is because I do think there's a bit of underwhelming feeling in the humor with this movie. Because, look, it is funny, and I was chuckling decently throughout, but I felt like I laughed so much harder at the earlier scary movies that there were scenes that just feel iconic and played back, and really in here I think most of the jokes were just kind of mellow, kind of the thing where you just kind of breathe heavily out of your mouth, just oh, I get that. That was good. I do think it was missing that big chuckle. You know, for all this talk of like, oh, we're going to offend you, we're going to crack everybody, the movie does evenly take jabs at all people. But I would actually say it was tamer than I thought. I feel like they actually could have gone further with the jokes. And heck, even just getting deeper into it as a parody movie fan, I think one of the reasons the first 3 movies are very beloved and actually you could go back to and enjoy them on repeat watches as opposed to maybe the other ones. I like moments of 4. I don't think it's a complete miss. To me, I think it's the way that the earlier movies kind of took the story in itself seriously. Not seriously in a way where you come out going, man, that story, those characters, they really spoke to me. No, but I think you still have to try a bit because we are watching a movie and characters and plot point. And the earlier films actually did that and found a way to smoothly integrate parodies of other films within that story, and that was just always kind of fun, seeing how they could make The Ring, Signs, cohesively make somewhat of sense in the story you're telling. I would say for this movie in particular, because they were following the formula of Scream 5, it did feel like there was actually a story somewhat going on in the beginning and the end, but in the middle of this movie, it literally felt like skit after skit, scene after scene, in kind of no rhyme or reason. Just like if you were watching a compilation video of SNL sketches. And heck, I think when you watch that movie and then you go back to the trailer, you're gonna notice a lot of deleted scenes and jokes that didn't make it into the final cut of this film. There's entire sequences and scenes that are like missing. And I think it's because the movie was already just randomly making joke to joke without actually having it make sense within its story. The movie was way more focused on how can we cram as many references in, as opposed to maybe tweaking or polishing some of the jokes so they could have a bigger laugh. Because like I'll even say the movie has a post-credit scene that I wouldn't say really teases anything for the future, but you can definitely feel that post-credit scene is essentially a deleted scene that was somehow, somewhere supposed to belong in this jumbled movie in the middle, but they couldn't naturally cut to it or flow to it in a way that makes sense. So it's just randomly now the post-credit scene, and that's kind of what you get. I'm fine with these movies being stupid, idiotic, and even at times childish. You know, I'm okay with that humor. But I do think there is an amount of effort that still needs to be put into connecting these. There needs to be a cleverness in the parody, and it can't just be, hey, we did the scene from Get Out, so clap and laugh, guys. That's just a little suggestion as a fan. Overall, I would say I was still happy, and I walked away feeling fine with the movie. If they make another one, count me in. I would just hope they maybe, polish up the cleverness in weaving these stories together and making it feel somewhat of a coherent movie and not just sketch after sketch after sketch put together. So with Scary Movie 6, I'm gonna give action 2.5 stars. Really, most of the action scenes come from the John Wick parody moment in this movie. Comedy in the movie, I'm gonna give it 3 stars, and that's honestly a little disappointing. I really wish the comedy was stronger in this. Drama in the film, I'm gonna give it 2 stars. Hats off to Scream 5 for them being able to do this parody formula and using that as the main basis. But I do feel, especially in the middle of the movie, they could have weaved in some of those references better instead of it just feeling like it's going scene to scene randomly. Suspense in the movie, I'll give it 2 stars. At least they do kind of play up who's the killer gonna be. They do keep that mystery up, and just knowing the somewhat funny twist that they had in the first movie, they still try to pull a little twist here that I think does actually work. And although it is called Scary Movie, horror in the movie at 1 star. We're looking at the 3 C's, I'm most gonna go towards the casual, although maybe that's contradictory, because I think a lot of you having enjoyment with this is you being a cinephile who's constantly going to the theater so you can catch all the references and little mini jokes that they crammed in here, but still I feel like the lack of a good structure in the middle will hurt that for them, and so I'll just go more casual. In the end though, we knew what to expect, we wanted to just have fun, and I did walk out just having fun. That said, look, these movies are critic proof, and if you're a fan, you're gonna watch it in theaters, but speaking honestly on the quality of this as far as scary movies go, I do think it's more of a rent or stream at home.
That'll do, Donkey. That'll do.
Again, that's just my opinion on the movie, guys. I'd love to hear from you if you got around to watching Scary Movie 6, what you love, what you didn't love. Again, I know these movies are not meant to be critiqued or super analyzed, but again, there is an art form to this parody. There is a reason we prefer some movies in the franchise more than the others, and I'd love to know from you what you think those strong suits are that this movie did and what it could work on if they make another one. And I think everything, be sure to like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.
One to go to if you only had to go to one, and are any of them good? So go watch our Masters of the Universe review if you haven't already. Grab a can of G Fuel. We got a % code off down below. Every tub we sell helps support our show, so thank you to G Fuel. Well, we just got done with Scary Movie. This is technically the 6th Scary Movie, Joe. Yeah. Have you seen them all?
I have.
What is wrong with you?
I don't remember a lot. They're not very memorable. Like after 2, obviously after the Waynes left, it went downhill.
Yeah.
But I do remember 3 only because the president was amazing.
Leslie Nielsen. Yeah.
Oh, right.
He's got the finger.
The finger. Okay.
It's so
very stupid stuff. I watched the trailer for Scary Movie 5, and I was like, this is like absolute garbage. Like Meet the Spartans level of bad. And comedy and, frankly, spoof movies have been fucking terrible. Is this more, Meet the Spartans epic movie, or is this more Scary Movie from 2000s? And that's what we went to go and determine. Now, I will say, having the Wayans back helps tremendously for this franchise, especially, Scary Movie 3, 4. Like Joe said, they left at Scary Movie 2, which came out in 2001. It's been 25 years since they've last been a part of the franchise. But it was good seeing them back. I'll start with you boys. What did you guys think of the Scary Movie?
I was looking forward to it. As you stated in the beginning, which one would I rather see? Eat Masters of the...
Okay, yeah. Okay, me too.
I would rather go see that one, even though I said wait for streaming. This one had some good lines, but overall, like, no, this wasn't it. Like, but it's nothing like...
Did you laugh, Joe?
I did.
Okay.
There were some good moments. Best parts were always obviously with Marlon Wayans.
Mhm.
He's fucking hilarious in this, so he's great. Having the back was great. It's nothing like the Epic Movie and those other ones. They made fun of so many fucking movies, but some of them, like, they made fun of too many horror movies. They didn't need to.
Yeah.
'Cause a lot of those jokes didn't work. They made it like a little tighter or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would work a little bit better.
We'll have to count all the ones that they
there's so
parodied.
many. Yeah, we'll count them, but like they did way too many, mile a minute. The jokes weren't landing, and some of these jokes are already kind of outdated.
Mhm.
It kind of sucks.
But they're catching up, Joe. They've been away for a long time.
I know, but it did kind of pick up for me in the third act.
Mhm.
Third act for
Yeah.
me kind of made me laugh out loud a
Me
lot
too.
more.
Me too.
I was like, okay, I didn't expect a lot of this
Hey,
stuff,
we got some traction there at the end.
but it is below average for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think this is closer to Happy Gilmore 2 than it is Naked Gun.
Oh, Naked Gun.
Don't you
Naked-
fucking bring up Happy
Naked Gun's
Gilmore too.
great.
Naked Gun is I was like, when did we see that? I think it was last year.
Last year, I think.
Yeah, it was amazing.
People love
but
it.
it is a return. I think with this and Naked Gun 2, kind of parody and spoof movies can make a comeback. Now, I don't think this one is as good as Naked Gun.
No, I think like I said, I think it's closer to Happy Gilmore 2 than it is Naked Gun. I mean, there's some stuff that's funny. They wanted to spoof literally everything,
They did have
and because they bounce from subject to subject to scene so quickly, and like you said, the jokes a lot of the time weren't that funny. The funniest joke in the entire movie had nothing to do with Scary Movie. It was them making fun of a cameo that had nothing to do with the movie, and it was brilliant.
Gun 2, kind of
like he
parody
was
and spoof
imitating
movies
someone
can
else,
make
and it
a
was just
comeback.
it was
Now,
literally
I don't think
perfect,
this one is
but
as
had
good
nothing
as
to do with
Naked
Scary
Gun.
Movie at
No.
all. And so it's like there's some funny stuff here. They're retreading some other things. There's a lot of like, hey, member. And look, there were some people in the audience
my God,
that thought the title screen was funny. And
Alex was like, I'm not looking forward to this, because we thought the theater would be packed and
No
they would just be talking and screaming. We went, and it was empty. There was just a few people, but there was one girl in there that was laughing at every
And look,
She walks up.
Joe.
Yeah, the lady walks up. Is like, oh, my name is Tuesday, because she looks like.
And
Wednesday.
the lady
she
was laughing.
busted out laughing
Hilarious.
like.
You know,
Okay.
I
She
am
loved
so
it.
jealous
Hey,
of
she
that,
loved
Joe.
it.
I'm so jealous of that. Are you jealous of it? I'm jealous of it.
I just I'm not trying to harsh people that
No,
are like that.
I don't
that love
want
anything.
to.
I'm just saying that if
wish I was like that.
some people are gonna laugh the entire movie and they're gonna love it. There was times where
Maybe
like
she was enhanced.
oh yeah,
Enhanced.
there were a lot of people who are enhanced. And so there's some good bits in here.
Mm-hmm.
There were some bits that we got all the way back from In Living Color. If you're as old as we are, I mean, there's stuff from a really really long time ago.
Hey, let me call her Kim Wayans. I was like, is that Kim Wayans? Is she playing in Living Color? The nurse in the film. So it was good to see her back.
Yeah, but this wasn't their best. Look, it's better than some of the more recent scary movies.
I will say
but
it's better than Happy Gilmore.
I do. Like I said, I do.
Okay.
I think it's
I thought you
between.
was-
I think it's between Naked
Yes,
Gun.
I agree.
Alright,
No,
alright.
I agree with Joe.
That-
This is way better than Happy Gilmore 2. Fuck that movie.
Yeah, but this is not one that I would, unless you also go get enhanced. Whatever means necessary.
Yeah.
Whatever way makes you happy that you can be safe in, I think you'll enjoy it more. If you're just sitting there raw dogging this movie,
Yeah, because honestly, like out of the two movies we saw today, I was more excited for this one. Man. I was like, nah.
I was more excited for Masters of the Universe, ends up that being the better movie overall, in my opinion, for your money. I agree with the boys. I wasn't laughing as much as I was hoping. Now, at the beginning, it was more about the lady in the back. They're laughing at everything. And I was like, no, I don't want this to influence me, because like I would get mad that she's like laughing at fucking everything, even stuff that didn't deserve it. And they said, no, focus in.
Yeah.
So focused in, and I tried to relax and stuff, and it just wasn't, there wasn't the funny. And I knew, like, Naked Gun, I was laughing from beginning to end, you know. But the film does start to pick up, and I think the film does start maybe about halfway through, and then the third act is genuinely funny, and I wish the third act was the rest of the film, and then I'd have been able to recommend it. But because it was slipping and sliding so much at the beginning, where it felt more like epic movie, Meet the Spartans, the bad ones, just with an amazing budget. Like, none of the jokes were working on the screen, but the CGI in the background, especially when they have a Final Destination going on in the background with roller coasters and shit. I'm like, that looks good. I like that, but I wasn't laughing, and I wasn't at what the character jokes were. I was laughing at the scene.
Yeah, for me it was a rough start.
Yeah, it was
the intro to the intro. I was like, what is this? I didn't.
Well, that was a throwback to Carmen Electra.
No, I know,
and then
but
Scream 5 and 6. It's exactly. Did you see 5 and 6?
Yeah. I knew what it was, but it was just not. It was not funny.
Okay, yeah, but so primarily Scary Movie, the plot and core structure is Scream 5 and Scream 6, essentially. But we'll have to go through all of the ones. Let me see if I can grab them. They did Terrifier, Get Out,
Final Destination,
Sinners,
The Substance, Megan,
Weapons, Megan, Wednesday, Netflix Wednesday,
John Wick.
They mentioned Vecna, and Long Legs,
Candyman.
Candyman, Smile, stop fucking smiling. Bro, okay, we're already up to 12.
Right?
We're
missing a lot more, too.
There's the FBI ones that they did. They're spoofing...
well, yeah, like HBO stuff, so like 13. Yeah, so
it's a lot.
And then there's a scene where they're in a bus and everybody's dressed up for, I guess, Halloween. So you see Leatherface, you see Jason, you see Chucky, you see...
Pinhead.
You see Pinhead. Hey.
Well, a lot of the movie was, making fun of Halloween.
Yeah.
Right.
9:45.
Yeah. The Final Girl and
I thought they were gonna do like some kind of spoof in the hospital, like Evil Dies Tonight.
Yeah.
That was so fucking bad.
The John Wick was kind of, they tried to go big budget kind of thing towards the end, even though, like, obviously body doubles. And they make self-referential humor. That's what I like. I like that stuff. That was working there towards the end. That was when the film was hitting on most cylinders for me.
Oh, Ma. Did we mention Ma? Because Ma was a huge part of it.
I remember Ma. The cool mom. But anyways, yeah, but while it may not be as funny as I was hoping it would be and return me to the days of old, it did enough to put me in a good mood. So if you go to it, you're not gonna feel like you wasted. Well, I don't know. Maybe
I would
opinion.
wait. I would wait.
I think I think it does enough where it's like I want these to succeed. It's not a bad version of it, but it's not top tier like something like Naked Gun. So if you do have to go to one movie, I'd probably do Masters of the Universe or Obsession and Backrooms if you haven't seen that. Those movies are fucking kicking ass. Still, I need to see the box office for this one, but. Yeah, it's obviously it's a mishmash of all of the Scream plot lines and then just self-referential humor. In fact, they'll just stop doing the plot and said, okay, now returning to the plot. I mean, so they'll just say it outright, and then you just we have some more.
Yeah, one battle after another side mission, and then we did K-pop Demon Hunter side mission, and
that was dumb as fuck. That song was so bad, it was cringy as hell. At one point. what's his name? Shorty. Goes. He gets sunk into the
Get Out,
couch. Yeah, and
it's not a K-hole, Joe. It's a K-pop hole. And then he met the demon hunters, and they turned into demons, and he had sex with all of them.
Yeah. So the song was terrible.
The movie.
Did you like the song?
I mean, the original song's good, but like not this one.
Hearing Shorty, the original song was good.
That is
there's no fucking way that was based on something, really?
Yeah.
It's the beat.
Man, Shorty fucked that so hard that I can't even imagine the original being good.
Yeah. So I think that's like 15, 16 movies now. Yeah. I mean, that's a problem.
Yeah, too many. I think if you had done fewer, then maybe it would have been a little tighter of focus.
Yeah.
But you know what? That might actually not be the fucking problem, because Naked Gun is so many fucking jokes. So many, like, self-referential stuff and referencing stuff as well. But they're written stronger.
But it's contained in one plot line and thing. It's just like Scary Movie 2, which I think is maybe my favorite one. It's The Haunted, right?
Yeah.
They're in that house. Everything's about the house. It's mostly spoof space. And there's stuff picking, from all over the place. But it's mostly that plot line. This, we're cutting to literal different universes and flashbacks. Like the Terrifier flashback had nothing to do with the rest of the movie.
The Substance one didn't really.
The Substance is another one that was
like, why?
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
a lot of it just like, hey, these movies came out, these are popular,
and just
let's make fun of it. Like, why?
Yeah,
is it funny? You got a funny joke?
It was not. We didn't get a funny joke out of it. We do the thing, and she busts, and the back thing happens just like The Substance. But they pull out the Epstein files, and I'm like, but that's not funny. You can't just put the Epstein files.
No humor.
And it says
the lady thought it was funny behind us.
I know about the Epstein files thing that has happened in life, but they didn't do any effort in it.
Like I said, a lot of these jokes are going to be outdated.
Yeah, and there's the White Chicks cameo.
The White Chicks cameo. They're talking about like politics and everything.
Yeah, they were making fun of pronouns and Republicans and progressives and stuff. So they were taking shots with everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I just wish it was a little funnier.
Yeah.
Now, what I do like is something that I can't really talk about. I think the strength of this film is in the classic cast. The cast from 2000s and before. The Wayans, when they're on screen, it's better. When this new blood, when they're parodying the 5 and 6 of Scream, they're limited with the 5 and 6 of Scream, which is on the new generation. And I don't give a fuck about the new generation. I like the older comedians because I don't think these younger comedians are funny, honestly. And that was basically half the movie. And then the classic cast gets more prominence towards the middle and the end. And that's when I thought that it was funny and working. So as long as they were focusing on the classics, I was happy.
Yep, I agree with that one. I think Anna did a great job. The Sarah one tried to be too much like Anna.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what she was going for, but she was not funny.
I was like, why is this girl acting exactly like Anna Faris? But then I realized, wait a minute, it's her daughter. She's supposed to,
But I understand that, but it wasn't funny.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was funny.
It's weird that Anna Faris can only pull off Anna Faris. And when somebody's acting like Anna Faris, I could tell. And it wasn't.
Well, she had those 2 daughters. You don't have to act exactly like her, like have her own identity, do something.
Right.
But
I agree.
I found it kind of annoying.
I agree.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the moments that I found really funny, and I can think of 2
or 3.
Damn. I mean, there's some humorous parts where I was like,
yeah, I was smiling.
But there's a lot of smiling.
I was smiling.
This is not a very funny movie. It's
crazy to me that why do you think that in the box office right now, Scary Movie's doing 50 while Masters is doing 30?
That's only pre-sales. It's Thursday night. That is all guessing and hopes and wishes and thoughts and prayers. And I'm sure that they're accurate with their.
But tell me why, Joe.
I would say because your average moviegoer, like myself, if I would have to pick, I would have picked Scary Movie.
Yes, I get it because the nostalgia.
Going with your friends, going with whoever's they would rather
Let's
go
laugh.
see.
Let's have
we're
fun.
here for a good time. If you're on a date, I don't think she wants to see That.
Yeah, you take her to He-Man, you take
Yeah.
your date to Scary Movie. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would
Spoiler, your
say-
date would probably rather enjoy Master
Rather,
of the Universe.
yeah,
I'm
exactly.
just saying, if you had your options,
No.
correct.
Beforehand,
That's
you're
the
right.
answer.
Correct. Like,
Yeah.
That's the answer. The demographics, basically,
Yeah.
pulling in a broader, diverse crowd.
I'm curious to see what week 2 does because I don't think we're to. Well, you know, I'm going to be wrong. This is going to have like a 25% critics, 100% Rotten Tomatoes. We're the only people on Earth that didn't enjoy
Guess
it.
what?
And the
You
internet,
were right.
the internet's going to be like,
we were
"You're-
wrong about, was it Happy Gilmore too?
yeah, all those other movies.
No, you were wrong about Happy Gilmore.
That's a
too.
hill
Where's
we
my
will
button?
die on.
Hold on.
We're going to die on that hill.
You were wrong about Happy Gilmore 2. That movie is fucking shit. And it is a fucking slap and insult. Anyways, moving on. So,
best
this
part
is
for
better
me
than-
as well
this
was
is better.
Officer Doofy.
Doofy.
Yes,
He
Doofy.
was great.
How dare you, Joe? You are so insensitive. You're not allowed to laugh at those types of jokes. No, I'm glad. I'm glad that they brought Doofy
yes,
back.
he was.
I'm glad that humor is back.
He actually helped out the movie because if it wasn't for
he
him,
did.
like at the middle part,
The
kinda would've
beginning
been-
parts, yeah.
yeah, it
He's
would
the
have kind
only
of like
humorous part, yeah. And then honestly, it's like his fingers stink and it's poop
These are-
stuff. And I
these are
think it's
not
funny
the-
as fuck. I'm with you. I think it's
complicated.
It's low effort garbage.
It is.
And I love it. But it is low. It's like if you don't think that his fingers stink is a funny joke, you're not going to like the middle of this movie. But
And then when
He's
the
the
reporter
best
lady
part.
sucks on his
She's
finger,
like,
her face.
which is what she did again. She did it the very. That's like the callback from the last
Yeah.
movie, or the very first movie.
God damn. Yeah, it's funny. But no, you were right, Alex. I don't know if I mentioned it at the beginning because we looked it up. It was like a 30% right now.
Yeah.
Now, apparently it was at 25%.
It was 25
You say,
earlier.
yeah, it was
And
like-
now it's up to
when I
30
looked,
with
it was
54
31.
reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. No audience score yet. so we'll-
99%. It's
No. Well, I don't know. If the lady in the back was rating it, yeah, it's 100.
Look, if you drink a ton of beers or smoke what
I don't
makes you
think
happy, I
I
think
don't
you
think
may
that-
enjoy it.
I
But I
don't.
think,
Yeah, like honestly, like if you wait and just have some friends over and stream this, you have a good time.
You're gonna have a good time. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, no,
let's see,
not if
there's-
you go to the movies.
There, Kai Sinet was
Yeah.
in this. They did a streamer segment. Honestly, I thought it was gonna be fucking lame. It's one of the funnier parts. I actually
pretty
liked
good.
it. It was entertaining. So they did the crossover. Yeah, it's shameless plugging. Yeah, there's even shameless product placement for fucking Angry Orchard. But it worked, and it was funny, and it was funny to see Ghostface or whatever dancing. Is it me or does the Ghostface voice sound like Mark Hamill? It's not Mark Hamill. We
No,
looked it up.
Roger L. Jackson. He's
Yeah.
the one that does a voice for.
But it just sounds like, I guess it's that voice modulator. or
Yeah.
whatever.
Kind of similar to it.
Yeah, I'm glad that the Wayans are back. They brought the whole Wayans crew, so that's fun to see. And there are so many damn Wayanses now, and they even make that joke in the film.
well, they have the nephews who are like more serious, in there, and so I think it's great. Now, honestly, I think that Scary Movie 6, I didn't like all that much. Scary Movie 7, if they get another one, I think I'll like a whole lot because I feel like they wanted to fit in every single reference they had in their back notebook for the last 10 fucking years.
Yeah.
And if they make another
15
one,
movies.
they won't have to put. I mean, I think honestly
We're
we're
all
way
on
higher
the
than that. And so I think that they will be like, no, we'll still stick to 5. You got K-pop Demon Hunters and one battle
you're right,
after
16.
another, and Ma. And
Well, it's like, what do we count? Are we counting like even a reference?
Well, that's
to
what
it?
there was a
that's-
whole section of
that's what
K-pop
they did.
Demon Hunters.
No, that's a legit one.
Yeah, these whenever they go sidetracked and do these little skits or whatever, it just didn't work.
Yeah, I think if they stick to 5 movies and then focus on
cut in half and work with that.
work with those things, I think you're gonna have a better time.
Now, Joe, do you remember Scary Movie 2?
Oh,
The basketball one.
Is
yeah,
there?
the hallway
Do they
and-
have like a plot line or something that they
Yeah, they're
can
trying to
do
get
the
the-
next?
They're in
Is
the
that the
haunted house.
long
The
legs
haunted
guy?
house.
They're in the haunted house. We got the little creepy hand, and he sticks it in
Yeah.
the turkey.
I
Okay,
think
so he
David
can
Cross
become more
is in
prominent in the sequel because the little hand guy wasn't really in it too much.
Mm-hmm.
He's in it for a little
He's like
bit,
two
and then there is some after credit scenes, and you'll see him again, but he's not in it too much. So if they did,
Chris Elliott, I think his name is.
Yeah.
So apparently, this Scary Movie, just titled Scary Movie 2026, is supposed to be the spiritual sequel to Scary Movie 2. in Wayne, they said none of that shit happened, except for they do reference it in this movie. They reference a motherfucker selling out and being, why were you in 34-5? That was funny. He's like, hey, I needed a house, I needed a car at the time, all the funny shit. All right, so let's go ahead and go with final verdicts.
4. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the 4 on this one. Below average. If they would have reined in a lot of the unfunny things, like the Megan thing wasn't funny, the substance wasn't funny.
Megan, all she did was dance.
But that's so stupid.
But she was doing more horny dance than when Megan.
It's just the long subway scene where there's oh, I'm a construction guy, I'm not gonna respect your.
Well, that's what most of Megan is talked about and made fun of. Is the dance. That's the only way to make fun of Megan, is the dance.
Your pronouns, I'm gonna stab you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's that scene wasn't funny. A lot of these scenes were funny. I felt like they wasted...
screaming out laughing for that.
I look, there's times where, I think you can make fun of anything as long as you're doing a good job. It's they didn't do a good job making fun of any of that stuff. So.
No, they didn't. Doofy was great. If they would have, cut half of those... More than half. I think
you do suck it, Joe. You suck it.
Well, yeah, it's a straw. It's a straw.
I was trying to drink it. No, you suck it.
Yeah, it's a straw. You
it's a built-in straw.
It's a steel. I mean, it's great. I've got.
That's pretty cool.
I've got the other one on my desk. Well,
yeah, guys, pick it up. Seriously, it helps us out too.
Yeah, I was disappointed that they didn't do much with Sinners. I thought they were gonna do some more.
I was hoping they would do more.
They just do 2 scenes.
They teased it,
but they weren't really funny. Again, I was like, okay, well,
they can expand on these scenes in the sequel.
Yes.
That what you're saying?
Yeah, cut a lot of those and expand on some of these and kind of work them into the story. But Doofy was great. Marlon was great. The third act kind of helped it out. Yeah.
You didn't like Shawn Wayans?
He was in it for a little bit, but he had 1 or 2 decent jokes that we saw in the trailer. But other than that, nothing really.
He had one.
Everything's about the gay with him.
He had a bit that is a super deep internet meme cut where a guy is talking about I don't like the men's, I like the women's, and it's such a weird internet joke that's I don't think anyone's gonna watch and understand what it is, but it's funny as fuck that he chose this obscure video
to know exactly which one it was.
Yeah. So what was your
score?
4? I mean, I didn't think it was very funny. I was thinking 4 or 5, and I haven't made up my mind. I'll make up my mind when I finish. I don't think the intro is funny at all.
No.
I think it starts to pick up when we get Doofy, and honestly, I could see people thinking, "How is Doofy funny? He literally just has shit on his fingers." But I think it's funny, so I don't apologize for it. They're literally recycling a joke.
You saying that is funny to me. So he has nothing to do with shit on his fingers.
And they made he made canned food and COVID jokes. None of that funny.
No, not
the fact that he puts his fingers in someone's mouth, which is literally a recycled joke from Scary Movie 1, funny as fuck.
And he uses it against the killer.
And and it's just a lot of it is Sherry O'Terry really selling the shit out of and so. Without that, I think even the middle of this movie would drag ass. I think that Marlon Wayans has this incredible impression that he does at the very end of the movie, and I could listen to him just make fun of this cameo for an hour and a half
in front of the face of the person he's making
fun of. It is
so
good, and it's I want an hour and a half of that, and because that was so fucking funny. But I don't think this is necessarily worth seeing in theaters unless again you're gonna get trashed in whatever way, and it's just a lot of this low effort comedy and not in. I mean, even for the Wayans, I think. Way better of them than this movie. I love almost every one of the movies they've ever made. This has got to be one of the worst ones. So I'm gonna go 5. And I think that's real generous.
Yeah, I didn't like any of the
because
kids.
I remember seeing Scary Movie 3. There's some parts, but it's not great. 4 and 5 are bad, and so it's this is middle-ish.
I don't have a lot of.
It is a scary movie. No, it's a funny movie.
Memories of scary movies. The scary movie I thought it was all right. Is an example of a good one. But not. But I can't remember a lot of Scary Movie 2, and then I refused if the Wayans. And I think it was better than those. And so I guess because my bar was a lot lower for these types of spoof comedies, I thought it was well enough, well executed enough that I know that while not every joke worked for me, listening to people in the back of us, it probably works more for mass audiences, I guess. And I did laugh a lot in the third act, and I was enjoying that, and I was enjoying the original cast. And so, like the boys, I think about, they're giving 4 and 5. I think about half the movie is right, but the heart's in the right place, and I'm very happy the Wayans are back. And I think it's on track. I want to see more. So I'm going to go a 6 out of 10. I think it's slightly above average. But for me, a 6 out of 10 is right on that line. Do I want to go to the movies or not for it? You can wait and you can see it on streaming, or see a different movie. Obsession, please, if you haven't seen Obsession, Backrooms, or hell, even Masters of the Universe, see those before this film. Unless you just want to see a fucking comedy and you want to have to do nothing with horror action or something. So, but other than that, I would say mid to low tier. Wait for it on streaming. So that's unfortunate. I do think overall, even though Alex is right, this is all speculative and it's all tracking. I do think Scary Movie is probably going to win and be, make more money than Masters of the Universe. So we're probably less likely to see a Masters of the Universe 2 and more likely to see a Scary Movie 2. Or a Scary Movie 7. And they'll do some kind of they'll do some kind of wording on it. Yeah. So, anyways, that's it for that. If you want to, if these jokes were a mile a minute, so we're going to do our best in the spoilers to kind of tell you what was our funniest things and what was the lamest things. But come join us in the spoiler section if you've seen it already or don't care. Otherwise, thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next Angry Joe Show.
I don't think we're going to spoil it. Man.
Here's some depressing news. The new Scary Movie's making a killing at the box office. Yay! Yeah, hey, Scary Movie 6, everyone's doing well. That means we get Scary Movie 7. Yay!
We knew that was going to happen, Adam. We knew it was going to happen.
What are we even doing anymore? It is with a heavy heart that I announced that the newest Scary Movie that just came out a few days ago has already broken the record for the highest grossing opening weekend of a Scary Movie film. Kill me! Now, your first thought, if you're new here, is, why is Adam such a little bitch? Why is he getting so upset about this? Well, I saw the new Scary Movie. It was terrible. Traditionally, when you make a comedy, you make it funny. There was nigh a laugh to be found in my theater, except for a few scant chuckles here and there. But the Wayans brothers, they're laughing all the way to the bank. Because after just 3 days at the box office, Scary Movie has pulled in $56 million. Beating the $49.7 million previously held by Scary Movie 3, which is also depressing. So in like one more day, it's already going to be in profitable territory because the film only cost $30 million to make, figure in marketing, figure in the theater's pull. Yeah, you get to 60, 70 million, you're in the clear. This movie's going to clear that shit in another day or two. And so Scary 7 movie, here we go. Sprinkling a little salt into the wounds is the fact that it opened up the same weekend as Masters of the Universe, the new He-Man film, the first new He-Man film to hit theaters since 1987, which had Dolph Lundgren in it. The movie sucked ass. This new one, however, was a very fun time, especially for fans of the franchise. Well, most. It's getting very good reception, unlike Scary Movie 6, which is getting terrible reception from both critics and audiences. Masters of the Universe only pulled in $31 million domestically off a budget anywhere between 170 and 200 million. Brace yourself. this film's about to lose a fuck ton of money. And I'm not in any way, shape, or form in the prediction business. In fact, I would say the times I have predicted things I've been wrong more than I've been right. However, in this instance, it was a no-brainer to me. Releasing this colorful, quirky film based on an old-ass property that really has had no relevancy in like 30 years was head-scratchingly odd. Like, what were they thinking here? Oh, Barbie made a bunch of money. That was based on a toy line. Let's do it with He-Man. No, what? You gotta have an in. You gotta have a hook. But the trailer looked just like Dungeons and Dragons, which I also enjoyed. That was a very fun family flick. That movie tanked. The depressing part is Masters of the Universe is 10 times better than Scary Movie. Like, it looks better, it sounds better, it's way funnier, and it's not even a comedy. It's an action-adventure film that just so happens to have a lot of comedy. Not all of it works, but it all works way better than Scary Movie. And it had a very paint-by-numbers basic story, but at least it had a story. This new bullshit out of a dog's asshole getting drank up by a skunk and then throwing it up later called Scary Movie was so miserable to sit through. It is bewildering that anyone is seeing this film after the word of mouth has gone around. I put out a pissed off review talking about how much this movie blew balls, and almost no one pushed back. The most generous things people have said were, "It's not as bad as you said. It's not good, but it's not as bad as you said." Oh, goody! Let's make another one then. Let's show them support and not the big budget, high octane adventure known as He-Man Masters of the Universe. And I'm not even saying Masters of the Universe is great. In fact, I had a lot of problems with it. But overall, it's just a far better time. And I love myself a good big blockbuster. I don't want to see those fall to the wayside so we can have more cheap garbage productions like Scary Movie. What really chaps my vag is the message that's being given out to some of these studios, and specifically the Wayans brothers, which is, hey, put in the least amount of effort, put in the bare minimum to get a movie done, and audiences will still lap it up. They say people vote with their wallet. Well, they are, and we, I guess, deserve what we've been getting shoveled the last decade, which is live-action crap remakes from Disney, which is sequelization of basically everything. Even the new generation horror directors are just making sequels already. Like, stale. They got bloated and too long, and I just wanted them to be over. You never want to see your franchise go down in flames or in a whimper, but it happens so often with these films. And the greatest irony of all of this is Scary Movie has sucked for a long time. Like, we're talking one, maybe two good movies in the entire franchise. It continues to thrive. It's just perplexing. I guess what it's saying is the horror space is very popular now. More and more movies are coming out every month in the space. We could use more parodies of these horror films that don't have the Wayans brothers attached. Let's get some fresh blood when it comes to... Maybe I do that. Maybe I should just put my money where my mouth is and fucking write a script for a parody of some horror films. That's really the only way I think I'll be sad.
I got a parody. I have an idea. I want to make a film making fun of these reviewers. Making fun of YouTubers in general. That's what I want to do. Probably a documentary, but...
Satisfied at this point. Alright, let me know your thoughts on this. Are you as disappointed and depressed as I am about the news that we're going to keep getting these crappy scary movies and Masters of the Universe is just going to die out in a blaze of... not even glory. Let me know. Please think of subbing to the show. Adam Does Movies. I post movie commentary, reviews, live streams every single day. Would love to have you stick around. I would appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Adam. Should we watch another one? After Obsession and Backrooms, we got flops. I mean, it's all people want to talk about. It's how stuff flops, man. I think I'm just done. I'm just done. I can't. I gotta restart my computer. I think that's all I'm gonna watch. I really don't care about the rest. They're all gonna say the same thing. I found it bad. I found it bad. I liked it. I thought it was hilarious. I mean, some parts were repetitive, mind you. Some parts were very kind of like they kept throwing stuff at you, and it wasn't contextual. Jokes gotta have context. They gotta fit with the situation, and it just wasn't situational in a lot of them, you know. And I caught that the fourth time watching it, and I thought about the perspective of a lot of these haters for this film, you know, those who don't like it very much, and I'm thinking to myself, maybe they're right, you know, because sometimes in my review of the reviewers, I've had a tendency to be on the side of the movie and be against those reviewers. Then I go see it again, I'm like, maybe they do have a point after a while. And I don't think that the film is terrible, but comparing it to the first two, even the third one is we're the first two. The third one is when it was the last good one. And even that one got way too like studio involved, because it was rated PG-13 instead of rated R. It wasn't allowed to be funny in the terms of adult comedy. You know, that's why they couldn't be nasty. They couldn't have any genitals showing. They couldn't have any breasts showing. They couldn't have anything that was, you know, kids. You know, the parents wouldn't want their kids to see. Anyway, so comparing it to the first two, yeah, it's I would say from best to worst, it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 6. In that regard. I'd say no, 1, 2, 6, 3, 4, and 5. First two being the best ones. The first one being the best one, period. And but yeah, it's a good thing that they stuck with the first Scream, by the way. You know, Scream 5 or whatever, instead of any other scary franchise. They never touched Halloween. They never even referenced Halloween besides a mask. Yeah. There's a lot I felt like they could have done when it came to DEI, making fun of DEI. And I can see that some people are disappointed because they didn't include those. And I felt like the studio made them play it safe, even though they said every line would be crossed, because the Wayans brothers were allowed more control. They were brought back in, and it's kind of like saying, okay, we're going to trust you with this again, but there's certain things you cannot do. We know you want to do this, but you can't touch this because it'd be too sensitive. And I just think that maybe they bent the knee to some of these, you know, the studios, when it came to omitting a lot that was in the previous trailer. They could put that in the final product, the final film, because it just would be too hopeful. Like people are too sensitive. Like the woke community would say something, and I feel like the movie is a bit restrained because there's a lot they wanted to say, but it would hurt too many people's feelings, and that just makes me think that maybe woke is not dead. Maybe there are some people that will use this movie to say, hey, we will that movie that was going to make fun of us, we actually tore it down some. It wasn't allowed to be as funny and make fun of certain things, and now we have power again. That's what I'm thinking, that the woke is going to come back, and I really don't want it to, because all these anti-wokers keep making films appear to be woke, films that are not woke in nature, like such as Ballerina from the World of John Wick, Ballerina, and Furiosa, Mad Max Saga. They try to make those characters look woke when they weren't woke, saying they're like film bosses. And even, you know, Tron Ares, Alan Ng from Film Threat called it woke when it wasn't. And so when reviewers try to make things seem woke when they're not, and then you got this movie not allowed to be as funny because they're afraid it's going to make fun of some certain groups, and you're bending the knee to those groups, it just makes me think that this whole woke period is not over. I thought this movie would be like, this is kind of a celebration. This movie would be like a celebration of all the DEI initiatives taken away and the woke community finally destroyed. They're not allowed to really speak. Not that they're not allowed, they're just, people are tearing them down, and kind of like we won the war thing, things can get back to normal like they were in the 1990s, and this is a celebration. It doesn't feel like that now. Maybe I'm reading into it too much, but that's how I feel. So yeah, I'm really bummed that I lost my cup though, man. I'm just bummed about that. Anyway, so gotta get out of here and get some sleep. It's a shame. It's a shame, really.